So just to zoom in, Command 0, just to see the page, some of these pieces that you have are just shapes with gradients. Okay, and they were created with the brush tool. You can do other ways, but just kind of showing some simple approaches to putting this together. So if I go to the layers, I have all these ribbons on one particular layer. But just to kind of show that to you. So I can simply just clear up some of this this space here like that. So let's do the object show off. So all these pieces are placed down there. But if I just take a few of them and just temporarily hide them. So what you have is the B for brush shows up on the screen. I have a fill and a stroke, nothing spectacular, but in the brushes panel, if you recall, this is where they start off, and you can create a new brush or you can just modify the one. And this one, when you double click on it, it just shows that it's a flat calligraphic brush. The angle is just a random 140, and this roundness right here is just going to be set to 0. If you crank it up, it just makes it to that piece. When you're in the tablet, you have these other items that you can choose from with the stylus wheel. But I'll just cancel it for now because I have the brush. And if I just stretch it out as a calligraphic piece here, you can kind of see it's filling and keeps it as a path, so it's connected to that brush. So if I switch it, then I'll have the gray outline as the fill, and then this piece right beneath it. So I just turn that off. And now I have this particular segment right inside here. And like I said, you do have some options. It's a quick way to make this kind of a three-dimensional looking item to it. When I go into the swatches panel, I have all these other gradients that I can choose from, already loaded up just to give me a little bit of a item to look at. But if I want to break this apart and have these as separate pieces so that they have that curvature into the path there, then I just have to cut these. So inside the eraser tool, I'll window shade this out. You have 3 tools, the scissors, the eraser, and the knife tool. So I'll just grab the scissors just for this part and zoom in. You can see this path, and right along this edge, if I can follow this contour of the ribbon, I'm just going to click right here to cut this, and that separates that piece right there. Okay. The rest of them I have to click on just to select it so that I have it. And as it wraps around, I have to kind of see which way do I want this to curve. And as I'm just practicing, if I get it wrong, it's not going to hurt it. But I'll just click up here. So now the curvature of this ribbon wraps itself around that side. And same with this one. I hold the Command key to get the direct selection, click back on this arrow, and kind of have my eye follow down here and just kind of clip it right here. And that separates this piece. And depending on how far you go or how long you have it, curving this one across, so I'll just go ahead and click on that part. So now I have these separate pieces that you can see, and I'll just undo them, put them back where I want them, and that gives me that selection. Now I can't really change too much of the gradient. When I click on the gradient editor, it won't let me do anything. However, if I have all these selected and just go to Object Expand Appearance, it takes the image and steps it back a little bit, one step. So now these are all outlined shapes, and they're all grouped together. So I could either ungroup it, but I'm just going to take the direct selection tool and work with it. But just to show it to you, here's the selection. I have all these parts. So I'll zoom into one of them, just space bar to get it in the middle. So here's the piece. If I click on the gradient tool, and make sure the fill is selected, you can see the gradients going this direction. You have the points that you can drag the colors off or on. You can click inside of this to move this. You could redo it actually. You just redraw it like this. So it has everything that the gradient offers and gives you that particular tone section down there. And that way it keeps it all connected. I just have the option in the roller bar to scooch out a little bit. And then just click on the Command key, and again, here's the gradient another time. And depending on if I like this color stroke, again, you have the online editor that you can change. Change the color of this. This is CMYK. I can click into swatches or RGB if I need to. You have the color modes from in here. So I could go to RGB if I want that color scheme. So it's allowing me to adjust that based off of this gradient. And again, you can adjust the sliders of this color. The edges can be crisper on this piece if I need to. But if I want to highlight, I can always Option and copy that color. Close up the little gradient section that shows the difference of the two, and start to build that color. Now the color scheme that I picked is kind of a random choice, but again, at least it'll give me something that I can go in and start to edit. And again, here's the command key clicking on this one. Here's the gradient. This time I may want to stretch it down that way. Click on this one. Maybe I want to have the red highlight up there. And gives me plenty of option. I can even grab a different swatch altogether. But if I'm trying to keep it in the same, I don't mind keeping that piece there. Again, you can click on this to get the darker blues if you need to. So that gives you that opportunity. Now the first time was just kind of using the brush without any changes, and that gives you the part that has the gradient with the fill. And the other option is if I wanted to do a shadow of some sort onto this piece, I can do it two ways. I can select all of these items. I can group it together. That's the image. In the appearance panel, I can go down to here where it has the stylize and the drop shadow, and that's going to give me a drop shadow on the entire shape. And that's the appearance panel, and these are all the options for that one. I can also just take an option, make a copy of it down below. While it's all still selected, can squish it down a little bit and go to the Pathfinder. So if you don't have Pathfinder open, just go in the window. And that'll give you into this. It now becomes one shape again. And within here, I can go into the gradients. I could just pick a light shadow for this one. Make this just a little bit smaller. Make it look as if it's casting a shadow down onto the surface. Rotate or skew this, shear this, anything that you like. And also, as you go into the appearance panel, under the effects, you can still do the same sections in here. So you have blur, and you can't see it, but it's Gaussian blur. So there's that image, and depending on just clicking with the rollerball gets you into that part. Just Option and close that in a bit. So there it is onto there, and you can also change the opacity if you want to enhance the illustration. So there's that part. The tab key will just hide everything so you can see it up close. And there's a quick segment of how to create that ribbon that relates to the overall illustration that you're trying to accomplish onto that piece. So see if you can give that a try with a brush tool, just a quick sketch.